Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Chill Code Corner. Well, do you know yesterday I was actually working in the office and I had to go search online for something, and I came across this article that had great statistics that I thought we could share with our viewers.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, guys, here are some web design statistics for 2019 that you definitely should not ignore. Number one. Do you know that nearly 2/3 of people would rather watch or rather see beautifully designed content than something plain or dull?
That's so true. Like, for example, when I'm looking at a blog and I see some infographics on there with like charts and pictures, that definitely holds my attention and makes me stay on their page way longer than if it's just plain text.
True point. What do you got for number two?
For number two, I have 11.38% of people would stop using a website if its content or layout is unattractive.
Wow.
Now, that's a good chunk of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I just been contracted by a company who already has their website built by someone else that knows how to code but doesn't necessarily know how to design. So they realize that their website lacks the appeal to viewers, you know. So when they go on there, it functions well, but it does not look attractive.
Exactly.
So it's important to know design and incorporate it as you become a web developer.
Exactly. That's huge. UX, UI design, which we will talk about in another episode, is so important.
Yeah.
And what's your next one?
All right. Well, number three. Web pages that load in 2.4 seconds had a bounce rate of 12.8%.
Wow.
Whereas pages that load in 3.3 seconds experienced a bounce rate of 20%.
Wow.
And you think about it, that's just a 0.9% difference, but it makes the difference on who stays on your site and who will click off your site.
Yes.
So things like that, it's like you definitely want to optimize your images, you know, on your web pages, especially if you're using WordPress, because that can kind of tend to get a little heavy with all the plugins that you have to add in, you know, but pay attention to that bounce rate. And actually Google Analytics will give you those statistics on the back end.
And pay attention yourself to when you go on a website. How long does it take for that website to load? And how impatient are you to go to another website on that Google search engine?
Wow.
Right?
Facts.
Facts. Okay, number four. Going off of your last point, 40% of people will switch to a different search result if the first one is not mobile friendly.
Wow.
So this is still going into the same type of issue with loading speed, and knowing that if you have the same type of optimization and design across all devices.
It's important.
It's important.
That's why you got to know responsive design and learn how to optimize your web pages.
Yes.
It's so important. Well, I have number five. Are we on five? Yeah, we're on five. All right, web pages that load in 2.4 seconds experience great mobile conversion rate of 1.9%. So what does that mean? Well, basically, if you can get your web page to load like that in under three seconds, that you're more than likely to have the viewer or visitor stay on your page, and they're more likely to purchase something or seek the information that you have, you know, because they know that, you know, as viewers go on web pages, they're information hungry.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
They want information instantaneously. So if you're able to give them the information as they need it, that they're more than likely, you're more than likely to kind of get them while they're interested in it. And they can quickly lose interest
very quickly.
Very fast.
When they're doing this, they want to get everything they want in one flick.
Exactly. Good point.
All right.
What's your next one?
My next one is 48% of people mention a website design is the most important factor in deciding the credibility of a business.
Wow.
That's important. Wow. I know when I go onto a website and it looks like it's from the 90s, I'm clicking off it because I'm like, who's trying to hack me right now?
90s? You went back that far?
I feel like anything past like 2 years ago looks like the 90s.
Exactly.
Like things are evolving so quickly. If it doesn't look current, it doesn't look safe.
You know, I even suggest to a lot of my clients that they refresh their web pages every 2 years.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's just changing out the images that are on your slider or on your header, or, you know, moving some things around just to keep it looking interesting. A lot of other companies are suggesting that as well, as far as Bluehost or GoDaddy and things like that. They're always suggesting that you refresh your page.
Exactly.
So it's important.
Yes.
All right, guys, number 7. A single second of added page load speed can cause sales drop by 27%. Wow. So we just moved to keeping their interest at 2.3 or under 3, that if it jumps to 4, you lose sales.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So it's just so important, guys, and I can't reiterate how important it is to have a good designer as well as a good developer. Now, we'll talk a little bit about the difference in those two, but just make a mental note that those two things work together. You have to have your web page functioning well from the viewer standpoint, which is the front end, which is what the designer does, but it also has to function as far as upload time and optimizing from the back end, which is what the developer does.
Yes. 62% of companies increase their sales by designing responsive mobile platforms for their websites. So we're starting to see a trend now, how important it is for your website to be cross-mobile optimized. So many people nowadays are just using just their cell phones to search and gather information. So making sure that your website is able to render properly on your mobile device is so important.
I think it's interesting that companies are paying attention to that.
Yes.
That they're seeing how it affects their sales in how you build your site. Or how your site loads. So I really see how web developers and web designers are becoming so important and are in high demand in this industry. All right, guys, number 9, 39% of people across the world will stop engaging with a website if images won't load or take too long to load.
I know I do.
I know I do. I have no patience.
I try to act like I don't, because as a developer, I'm like, okay, let's see what the potential of this website is. But even I feel that this is taking too long.
Yeah.
I feel that for sure.
And I mean, I said this before, I'll say it again. People's patience is running low and thin. They're information hungry. They want it right now. And
they want it right now.
But I also feel that you become a more reputable source of information if your page loads quickly. And it's funny how those things could, in other instances be unrelated. But on the web world, it's definitely related.
And it definitely goes back to our other statistic about credibility.
Wow.
If you go onto that website and you see it's not loading fast and maybe the images aren't optimized, which we can talk about in another episode, that really impacts the credibility and the optimization of your website.
Absolutely.
It trickles down. There's an effect.
All right.
So our last one. 48% of people mentioned a website's design is the most important factor in deciding the credibility of a business.
Wow, we just said that.
I totally didn't realize how
how important it is.
That's like clairvoyance, right?
It's facts, guys. It's written down. Wow.
Exactly. So that just nails it home for us. We're not just talking about optimization. We're not just talking about how pretty it looks. We're talking about the credibility of it. And as a business, and as you go out and start trying to get that business and design for companies, think about how you're designing it, how it looks, and how that's going to translate to the credibility of that website and business.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Well, guys, that's all we have for you today. But we want to hope that you take these stats into consideration as you're designing your web pages, because staying on top of industry's trends could give you the competitive edge as a web designer.
Absolutely.
So we hope this info was helpful to you. If it is, definitely click that like button. We want to hear your comments. We want to know what you think. Definitely remember that Chill Code Corner, this is a community where we learn, we share, and we grow together.
Yes,
definitely.
Exactly.
So just, be consistent
and do a little something every day.
That's it. You're watching
Chill Code Corner.
All right.